James Gandolfini driving on the turnpike to get home.
Hello and welcome to the Gabagool. I'm your host Tim, here with my co-host Jesse.
Hello.
This podcast is a deep dive of the entire series of The Sopranos. We'll be covering one episode at a time, full spoilers going forward. Today we continue with Season 1, Episode 2, entitled 46 Long, that originally aired January 17th, 1999.
Jesus Christ. Almost on the 20 years.
Yeah. I made a point of looking that up because in this episode, Chris is talking about Y2K in the millennium.
Their references are amazing. Fuck.
I was like, when did this air?
When we were young.
Whole year before Y2K.
Yeah, we were just getting into high school.
Yeah. Oh, God.
That's weird.
I'm not going to sit on that.
Yeah, I don't want to.
All right, so episode 2. First thing noticed is the increase in production value.
Yep, it's like they took a year off. just like figure out how to do this better. It went from looking like the Gotti biopic in 1994 to like Goodfellas.
We open with that fantastic scene of just them all around the card table,
bullshitting and watching the guy talking shit on the mob.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a perfect opening.
Yeah.
And that's like the first time you fall in love with Syl.
Yeah.
Syl is the best.
Just when I thought I was out.
It pulled me back in. And it's like, I like that it sets up the, what's it called? Like the ranking relationship.
Yeah.
Or it's like Tony's the guy that everyone, fucking sucks up to.
Mm-hmm.
And then Big Pussy's like, doesn't give a shit in the background. He's second in command.
he's sitting there reading the paper just like, you hear about this cloning?
Yeah.
Just talking. He's not paying attention to anything anyone's saying. He's talking about, he's like...
He's the reality of the business.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the mundane part of it.
Yeah.
Like the last episode when he was talking with Christopher. And
yeah.
Like, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to go back to my place. We're going to cut up his body. We're going to load him back into the car. And we're going to go dump him. That's it. That's it. And like this whole episode, he kind of is that character. Like when he's going around like questioning and everything.
Oh my God.
He's like the detective.
That
It's
was
hilarious.
I watched it twice and like it really wasn't until the second time I watched it where I sat there and it really clicked with me that this entire subplot is them getting the car back that was stolen, the teacher's car that was stolen,
stealing someone else's car,
and it's just because of one line in the beginning where Tony says to his son, "What's your grades in science?"
Yeah,
and he's just like, "I'll see what I can do."
And the best is Anthony Jr. when he's just like, "Yeah, my dad's a real hero," and the guy's looking at the paint on his finger.
The actor that they got for the teacher was absolutely perfect
awesome
for that scene. It was amazing.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, different keys.
I also like how the subplot is that it's like they're not able to like strong arm like the businesses anymore because they're going corporate.
Yeah.
So they're like there's like a million of these things and he's like
yeah. He's like, I know. And then you just have Paulie the entire episode just bitching about the rape of his culture.
Yeah. $4 for a fucking espresso. I love Paulie's a good character.
I love him getting more time in this episode. Like when he makes fun of Chris and no hesitation to the guy right next to him turns to Syl and is like, "So, you hear what I just said?" Just like
yeah, he repeats it all over again.
Thought it was so funny that he just needed to point out.
Dude, Christopher and his relationship were excellent.
Yeah.
The Pine Barrens episode, that is the one to look out for.
My cousin said to me, he was like, let me know when you get to the Pine Barrens.
That is the episode. Like you go online to like look up Sopranos and everyone's always talking about the Pine Barrens. I don't know what it is about that episode. It is just perfect because that is like, for all intents and purposes, that is the most comedic episode.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. And that's the first time I feel like there's this character called Bobby on the show, and he's like my favorite character. And that's like the first time you really develop a relationship with him too. So I feel like that's why everyone kind of goes towards that episode, because that's the first time Bobby really shows his personality, and he's like the sweetheart of the Sopranos.
Awesome.
He is the heart of the show.
Awesome. And you mentioned you mentioned like it being a comedic episode. That was another thing I noticed in this episode was that the comedy became a lot
smooth,
way more subtle, and when it was a little more obvious, it didn't feel just super out of place. Like,
yeah, but they didn't go overboard with it. There wasn't them chasing a guy down in a business park in a car. Yeah,
the most outrageous comedic part was Tony's mother running over her friend.
Yeah, that part was hilarious. Even the kid, anytime with the mom, we went to the kitchen when it's on fire, and she's just screaming on the other end of the phone.
Ooh, this is my life.
Yeah. I also like the end of the episode when he gets the last call.
Yeah.
And then it's him sitting at the bar just staring off. And then what's his name? I forgot the guy's name, but he's the bartender, and he's like trying to get the button to work.
Get the buttons to work.
He just beats his face in with the phone. But the best part is it's the 3 strippers on the stage.
Yeah.
Because like they played the part so well for like just like extras in the background.
Yeah.
Like when they're just kind of staring off like worried, and then they just like kind of like nod their heads and just go back to dancing. Yeah.
And that was even earlier in the episode with the strippers when his mom's kitchen is on fire and
is your mom okay?
Yeah, just like standing there.
He just completely ignores
boobs
them.
hanging out and just like is your mom okay? And he just
that one line too to Camilla. I know you're real busy, and she's just sitting at the table doing nothing. She's in her fucking pajamas.
Yeah.
Fucking Carmilla, dude.
She was she didn't get a lot to do in this episode, but she was great in the parts that she was in.
Yeah.
I loved when
they didn't focus on her or the kids really in this episode.
Yeah.
Like AJ was the biggest focus.
Yeah. It was the biggest it was Tony and his mom, and then
there was even very little of the therapist too. I think there was like 1 or 2 scenes.
Yeah. And then Chris and Brendan are the other big story. And
oh my god, when he throws him through the meat table.
Yes.
Open the fucking door.
Yeah. And there was another thing. They're boosting a DVD truck.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Another good moment too, like an introduction to a villain, was Uncle Junior's right hand guy when he comes up to him in the car and they have like that passive aggressive talk.
I love that.
No. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Give me your hand.
I kept waiting for him to like start like cracking his bones or something in his hand.
That I feel like is the first time you see like fucked up Soprano.
Yeah. Like
that's like the scariest part of like Tony Soprano. It's like when he's like joking with you like that and just doing that weird breathing through his nose.
Yeah. And you see him in the car, just like he just has this big smile on his face the whole time, just like ha ha ha. Yeah. Okay.
Fucking hates him though, seething through his teeth. I forgot the guy's name, but he is he's a good villain.
Yeah, there was really great, just more things just subtle in the background, just seeding things going forward. Even like with Chris's story, I feel like a lot of this episode for him was
the mundaneness of the job.
Yeah, and him just getting that impatience of when am I going to be a made man, and then he's got this buddy who
he's just a fucking dunce.
He's an idiot. And so he's got him in his ear, feeding him kind of with what he wants to hear.
Yeah, he's like, these are my coworkers.
Step up.
This is my coworker.
Yeah. Fuck fuck the boss, and
it's like working a job and trying to make your way up, and it's like these are the people I'm surrounded with.
Yeah,
fuck.
Yeah. But I thought it was a great moment when Brendan shows up and Chris is just sitting there on the porch, and
he's like, I only know Tony Soprano.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going.
Yeah, that was a really good scene. Like, keep it fucking down.
Yeah,
yeah, that guy is a moron.
Yeah,
but like, I feel like that stuff with Christopher, it's just. This is when he's still trying to be Joe Pesci from like Goodfellas and Casino, where he's like, I'm just like the crazy guy. Like when they're kicking the one guy, he's like, you got to beat me up a little bit, and I've got rope in the glove.
Yeah,
and they're like, you want to get beat up? We'll beat you up. And then you start like kicking. He's like, how you like that? like that's like over the top Pesci moment.
And then you had the other side of it with the second driver who's just like, let me just grab my lunch.
Yeah. And then they accidentally kill him.
Yeah.
With a ricochet.
Yeah.
But I thought like another thing with this episode was like this was like the first episode was like his family was what it focused on. Like his real family.
This is very much
this
work.
one was the crime family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it was just like their normal day. Like that beginning scene was like the most mundane, like watching TV, just bullshitting.
Yeah.
And then when they rob what's his name's truck, when it gets found out that it's Uncle Junior's,
Yeah.
and they're loading all this stuff up, and then Sill's like, this is a really nice jacket. Like, what if we keep some of this?
Yeah.
And he like looks at them. He's like, what are you standing around for? Load everything else up.
Yeah. And he's just staring at himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And he gets his line again.
Yeah, they round back out to it.
And then we had a cameo of a great icon of mob cinema of Scorsese showing up.
I forgot about that. Yeah. When he goes to the dinner.
Yeah. Chris and Brendan are outside the bar and they're trying to get in, and then they're just like, "Oh, Mr. Scorsese," and they're like, "Oh."
Yeah, they do the turn where he like looks at the camera. Yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ. What's funny was like 2 days ago I watched that 70s show, and I watched the episode where it was the bouncer and they're trying to get in. It's like the same similarities.
Yeah. The janitor from Scrubs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, with the long hair. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else happened in this episode.
I mean, with Tony, you're starting to see, the tension continue even further between him and Junior. It's like,
oh yeah, they're building that way up now.
Yeah, and like Tony kind of makes that joke at the table of just like, who wants the fucking job?
Exactly,
of being in
the passive aggressiveness of it. Dude, it's so good. It's like, yeah, I'll say it like this, and then Jackie will want to give me the job.
Yeah.
It's so good. And like the Jackie is just like, does not fucking care.
Yeah.
He's like, I have cancer, and I do not want to be doing this right now.
Yeah.
Someone take this from me. He's like, I don't want you to be modest about it. Tell me you want the job.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's showing that it's like Tony is showing on the outside his like respect for how things are being run, but you see the gears are turning.
Yeah.
Of just like he's ready for it to be his moment at the same time, but he knows he's got to play the game a bit, and he's got to play nice a little bit to the one side before he can swoop in and take over. I'm really excited to see what goes further with him and Junior, because I remember vaguely like that getting.
Yeah, that's like that's like basically a plot synopsis for the whole series.
Yeah.
But also he had the other panic attack, but like controlled it better this
in the
time.
house. Yeah, he didn't.
But it's like the connection. It's like he was looking at a picture of his dad. Like I feel like that's the big connection. But another good Carmela moment was when she comes to the house after the fire, and she's like, you can stay with us, and then she's like,
I know that I'm not wanted.
I know where I'm not wanted, and then that was like you could tell Camilla's like, thank God.
Yeah.
Because even like Tony says that line later where he's like, my fucking, like, I ever gotta deal with my wife not letting me have her in the fucking house.
Yeah.
So it's like that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, I just told you that you could never mind. It's just like,
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
She's like, yep. She saw right through it, and I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not there. It's not. It's definitely not the busiest episode.
Yeah.
It's
just a character build.
Yeah, it kind of is like this and the pilot. I feel really work together as like one whole pilot.
Yeah.
Like especially with the way you put it, that the first episode is like his home family, and then it's the crime family. So
Yeah.
This feels like the full setup of his world and his life that we have, and I'm excited to see episode 3. And
Yep.
I don't even know what's gonna happen. I don't know anything about that episode, but
Just looking at the picture now, we can see where this one goes.
yeah, yeah. Spoilers, Amazon.
But yeah, definitely was not anything crazy that happened this episode.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the slower episodes, but you get more out of it. Like you learn about all of them. Like I said, like Big Pussy's relationship is like completely solidified in this episode. Like I understand who he is. He's the right-hand man.
Absolutely.
And he does a great job of doing it.
Yeah.
And then like Paulie and Syl are like, they're the old version of Christopher where it's like, oh, you don't get it.
Yeah.
There's a ceiling.
Yeah.
And we're not allowed to go past a certain ceiling. You might be able to because you're what's his name's nephew. But we're of the variety where it's like we just put in the hours and we go home.
Yeah, this is our
This
job.
is just a job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no aspirations of moving upward. Like it's just this is what I do.
And that is where Christopher, like, he's already thinking ahead. He's like, if Tony takes this, I can take this.
Yeah.
And it's like, Tony doesn't even have this yet. Relax.
Yeah. Hey, that's one of the lines that Chris says to Brendan is he's like, for as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be in this with Tony. It's just like...
It's like the opening line to Goodfellas.
Yeah.
It's like, ever since I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Yeah. And so I feel like it is definitely more of that. It's like, I feel like he always had an idea of the real life of it with Tony, but he's seen all these movies and it sexualized everything and just makes him be like, that's the...
He really is like a perfect like 50-50 mix of Henry Hill and like Ray Liotta from Goodfellas and Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
Because he like has the moments where it's quieter like Henry. And then he's got like the crazy moments where he's like, let's kill this motherfucker. But yeah. That's going to be the big relationship is Tony and Christopher.
Yeah.
That whole thing. So yeah, everyone else is just kind of a background player. But they do the job probably good. So like Paulie and Syl are perfect at what they do.
Yeah.
Because Syl is totally just a yes man. He's like, oh, you hear that, Tony? He's like, yeah, whatever you say, Tony. And then Paulie is like the one that's like crotchety about it. He's like, I'm fucking old as shit and I could be running this better. That's who Paulie is.
Yeah. But if anyone were to like say to him, it's like, okay, you run it. He would be like,
he'd just fall the fuck apart.
Yeah,
just
he's
fall
like,
the
"No,
fuck
I
apart.
can't."
You just fucking wait, my friend.
Yeah.
You just fucking wait.
I can't wait. But I have to.
Yep. All right. So.
Yeah. So that was episode 2. Yeah. So next episode is 3. Denial, anger, acceptance. Oh, okay. There we go.
Yep. Uncle Junior's associate, Michael Palmise, stirs things up, making Junior think Tony wants to be next in line for boss. Meanwhile, Tony, Paulie, and Silvio deal with his... God damn it.
Today, Junior?
Hasidic family problems.
Yeah. I really... I noticed with the episode 2 synopsis, like on Amazon, it's written out kind of like a tease of the story. And it's like, with acting boss Jackie Aprile dying of cancer, Tony prepares for a power struggle with Uncle Junior. Christopher and his associate Brendan make trouble for themselves when they jack a truck full of DVD players.
That really is the entire plot.
And then...
like, that is the biggest plot.
And then when I was looking up on IMDb to see when this aired, I read their synopsis. And,
I can't wait.
And it's just, Tony is getting fed up with his mother. Brendan Filone acts against Tony's wishes. Salvatore and Paulie try to track down AJ's teacher's stolen car. That's it. No flowery language or anything. Just these things happen.
Hilarious. Did you see that? There's this one picture that was like going around Reddit, and it was the title was that episode, and it was just like the TV channel guide thing, and it was like it was highlighted on The Office, and it was like Michael does something that gets the whole entire like stirs the entire office up.
Yeah. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Of course.
And then it turned into a Reddit thread where like under it was like a triple X Olympics.
Yeah.
And people were like, I want to know about the porn Olympics. Like, what's going on with that? Oh my God. Yeah. I'm pumped to do episode 3.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in for episode 2, 46 long, and join us next time for episode 3 of season 1 of The Sopranos.
This is the only reason I live.